Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to some more Faceit League action. It is a fantastic Friday night, as cold as it can be, quite honestly. But hey, we're heating up for some South American action here today. We got FA Overwatch taking on Element Heaven. Now, going to the situation, Dex, before, if it were for the Sudamericana, we would have gone in here saying, man, we don't know a lot about these teams. But the bright side is, we have gotten to see these squads before. We've gotten to see the performances they've been able to have. And while they aren't playing in the Sudamericana this weekend, both of them had really good performances and definitely put you in the situation where either of these teams get off to a good start, they're 100% contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. And these two teams actually did play each other in the Sudamericana, and it was FA Overwatch taking the victory over Element, having 3-1 in that one. So one of those games towards the end of the group stages there. So you might have to put FA Overwatch or Faith in Overwatch as the favorites going into this one, but for the rest of the series, we'll just call them FA Overwatch. But Element Heaven seems like a really good team. They have a sub, they have a coach, at least on Faceit they do. So they have that backing behind them to really be able to help them in between maps, especially with those map bans. However, we do know first map will be Busan. And, well, it looks like FA Overwatch could be banning out D.Va here to get started. We'll figure out what Heaven bans here in a moment.
Yeah, I am curious what it'll be. Again, these bans have been relatively safe, but at the same time, South America does have their own style they tend to stick to more often than not. We got to see a lot of flexibility during the Sudamericana, but there were these teams that honestly definitely did kind of gravitate towards a very specific style. We'll see whether or not that is the case in this situation right here. Obviously, with Busan being the map, it's one of those where everything kind of generally changes a lot depending on which sub point it is. You might go and want to run something like the Junker Queen or the Orisa once you get indoors, but when you go to something like Sanctuary or downtown, it doesn't always work. But we'll see what the situation is here soon. There is a sub or two on the side of Element Heaven, as I guess they're just situating to figure this out. But if they Overwatch, nope, they are just this is the same 5 we saw the Sudamericana. They think this is the 5 that's going to get it done.
It's the only 5 they have on their roster, apparently.
It is.
As well. But yeah, I mean, Busan, I feel like that's going to be probably a heavy favorite here in at least the early part of the season. My feeling it's going to be like every other season of Overwatch we've seen, or Faceit League here, where we've seen one map be the heavy favorite, then about mid-season, something changes, whether meta, new hero gets introduced, and we start seeing a shift in map changes as well. So Busan been a heavy favorite here early on. D.Va being banned out, like you kind of mentioned, is a safe ban, relatively. All you go to a map like downtown, D.Va has a lot of advantage there, being able to fly up to those high grounds. A map like Mecha Base, being able to fly from low ground of the point to the high grounds that surround it. So very, very good tank there. Want to get rid of that one early on. And my feeling is Heaven here probably going to be banning out something maybe like a Tracer here. I mean, there's no reason to go after something like an Echo without the D.Va there. There's really no real reason to necessarily need something that could really affect the D.Va. Maybe if you're looking at the support line, Wu Yang. We've seen a lot of Wu Yang here recently. Lucio, always safe. Kiri, always safe. So when we figure it out here in the next couple seconds, or at least in 30 seconds here when rosters will be finalized, it'll be really interesting to see what Heaven decided to go with here.
Yeah, I'm excited to what they're going to be able to do here. Much like when we talked about Crazy Legion, is that this is one of those teams that can be very scrappy, that can do a lot in chaotic environments. FA Overwatch, everything that we got to saw, they are pretty locked in as to what they like to do. But Dex, you saw it yourself. Other ban is going to be the Lucio, which, to be fair, when it comes to control, we have been seeing that Lucio ban like very consistently now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very safe ban. It truly is. And it's not that big of a shock, really.
Nah.
A lot of teams, especially if you're banning out the D.Va, you're going to probably want to be focusing something maybe more brawly. So you want that speed to be able to get you in and out of fights. Without the Lucio there, you kind of have to find other sources of speed, whether it be Juno, whether it be Wu Yang there. But normally force you to slow down a little bit and still allows teams to play dive if they want.
Yeah, 100% gives them the opportunity to play that dive. I think 100% these teams, if they want to commit to it, they definitely have a reason to be able to. And even if you don't have the speed, you do have that, I would say, that Wu Yang sitting by. You have the on a break that, honestly, teams are still playing the on a break, and it's still relatively successful as well. So that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if that's what we got to experience. But only person missing right now in the lobby is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is it Rosa? I think it's just Rosa we're missing currently.
Me. I'm not there.
Oh, you are not. Good sir. How dare you?
I did fill out. I even told you when I filled it out.
Oh, do you mean like you literally
I
legit?
I never got an invite.
Okay, well, we're gonna figure this out on the fly, and by on the fly, I mean we are giving Dex the VIP treatment, his very own private
I don't
POV stream. I mean, this is.
I'll actually,
Go ahead.
you'll actually be able to not have to fly around the map.
To be fair, I usually don't have to. Usually, the hotkeys that I do have usually work out pretty well for me, all things considered.
Yeah. But hey, this is the first time we're covering South America this season, so let's actually give a little bit of a rundown here. So hey, if you look at it, this is the Masters tier. Got expanded to 11 teams. However, if you've been following South America, you kind of understand why. There's only, I believe, 3 or 4 teams that are actually signed up for Masters. So they just decided to combine Masters and Open into one.
Mhm.
So there's definitely going to be a little bit of maybe a tier gap with some of these teams, but because it's all one, it means there's a little bit more games to be played here this time around. 10 games will be played this season. Every team really actually started off the season 1-0 because of the 11 teams. Everyone got a bye, so an automatic win. So everyone will at least finish the season with a win. And some teams have already played a couple games. I believe it's Cosmos already played 2 games this week, won both. So they're currently sitting 3-0. FA Overwatch, if they win this game tonight, they'll go up to 3-0 as well. So you'll start to see a little bit of a gap, or at least a little bit of a gap record-wise here early on in the season. Just after 1 week, because Hunter, like in the past 2 seasons, me and you have been covering South America, only 1 game per week. Now it's up to 2, but a lot of teams are already rescheduling games here and there to try to better fit it in. So there'll be times where, hey, we're going to be able to cover 2. Then there'll be times where some teams play 3, 4 games in a week just because of rescheduling and everything.
Yeah, 100%. And that's happening across the entire Faceit League season right now. Everybody's rescheduling. We had to not just double back, but almost triple back this last Wednesday on what we wanted to do. It's like, oh, we got this game. It was rescheduled. Oh, let's hit this game. It's about to be rescheduled. It's like, you know what? We're just doing the one game. Just do the one game. We'll reset on Friday. And while there was a rescheduling, it's not the most inconvenient thing in the world. We're here now, so that is what is important. But hopefully, with OWCS ending Sunday, hopefully everything will go back to some level of normalcy after that. But as we're sitting here right now, there's a minute left on the timer. And at the moment, we still do not have Rosa in the lobby, which is obviously interesting.
Yeah, and no communication either from ELMT Heaven about it. So that could be concerning. We know in the past this has happened before where players haven't been able to connect to the lobby, so the teams have had to go make it on their own and then submit the scores to Faceit themselves. But OWCS going on right now, the World Finals. Sadly, our region, NA, got bounced all today, so that was fun.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, hey, Sunday brings us the news for next season. I think it's gonna be really exciting. I keep on hearing people spout the rumor that maybe LATAM gets made into a region that gets picked up for OWCS. Well, I would love to see that. I'm not getting my hopes up for it, but South America, I mean, this season's gonna be really fun for Faceit. Next season's gonna be even more fun because me and you kind of talked about it. There's some teams here that were in Master Tier last season that we have yet to see that are not in it this season, and hopefully they'll be back next season for Faceit. But right now, because of the unfortunate, because of Rosa not connecting, it is technically considered an FA Overwatch victory there, but we are going to try, I imagine, to figure out if it is an actual forfeit or if it is just going to be played individually by the players here.
Yeah, because I did ask if there was a 5th showing up, and Nora Angel did say, and I quote, probably. So that's not the most reassuring word in the universe. However, at the same time, it's like, okay, we'll simply see what happens in the situation. We'll give it a couple minutes. We'll try to get maybe into some level of communication, and find out. But at the moment, obviously, we'll have to see what the situation is. And obviously, if that's not the case, then we'll simply kind of to break for a while. Actually, Nora, you are in chat, actually. I'm just going to communicate with you and make life easier. My tank had some IRL issues, is what we are seeing right now. So
Understand.
yeah, it's looking like that is indeed gonna be the case. Which obviously, unfortunate way to start things out, but at the end of the day, I mean, you said it before, Dex. The result of this game previously, you said it was what it was. It was a 3-1 in favor of FA.
3-1, 3-1, yeah, 3-1 in favor of FA Overwatch back in the Sudamericana. But again, having that experience against this team in that tournament might have made this one a little bit different. However, I mean, in the past tournament, we talked about how, or especially last season, how one forfeit really threw off one of the stronger teams there was the reason they didn't make the playoffs. With the actual teams expanding now to 11 teams, I mean, one forfeit doesn't necessarily kill you if you're in this region, especially for a team like Element Heaven, which, I mean, based off how they played in the Sudamericana, I have a lot of hope and faith in this team to be able to kind of right the ship here. And I understand IRL issues do happen, but this is a team that I expect to actually be towards that top half, maybe even fighting for a playoff spot come the end of the season.
I think it's a very real possibility in the situation. In fact, I think it's more open than I think it's honestly ever been. And part of that does come from there being more teams, obviously. But I think it also comes from the fact that we have seen the variety from the Sudamericana, everything that we've gotten to witness from these squads, see how competitive a large majority of them are, and I'm excited to see how that's going to go down. You have teams that have gone through rebrandings, you have teams that have gone through entirely new rosters. It has been, please don't tell me it is what I think it is.
No, they're saying their tank is back.
Okay, well then, we'll have to see momentarily. I'll tell you what. Listen.
This is interesting because I think it all comes now down to FA Overwatch if they want to play this one.
Yeah, 100% it is.
But Element Heaven, they did just tell us that their tank is back, or Rosa is back. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But at the same time, they would have to invite you back to the lobby.
Yeah, which to be fair isn't the most impossible thing in the world. We're just in a lobby with them, so we do technically have. I do have the handy dandy DMs of Overwatch, just in case that needs to be the situation. And at that point, they have me there as well. So you know that kind of works out a little bit.
Actually sounds like both. It actually sounds like FA Overwatch gonna be down to play. Fearless is in chat as well, talking with Noir.
We're doing this all in real time, and honestly, I'm happy with that. I was about to be like, well, we'll have to send it to a break, and we'll be back for a different game. But no, we're here. We're probably gonna make this happen. I will say, it probably would still be smart to go to a break here very shortly, just so we can get it sorted out, give ourselves a quick moment to get it all sorted, because obviously we need to be able to get into the lobby when it's being made, and the fact that with everyone out in Stockholm right now, and the fact that it is like 2:13 in the morning for them right now.
2:13 in the morning Central Time in Stockholm.
Okay. But yeah, we will just set it to a quick we'll do a quick little break. I'll set like a 5-minute timer, and we'll go from there. So when we come back, hopefully we will have the actual start of FA Overwatch and Element Heaven. So we'll see you shortly. Oh, Nelly, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Was not ready for it to be done that quickly, but guess what? It is done. It's ready to go. Next, we're getting into this game, and my God, these comps at the moment could not be different.
I mean, hey, we're able to figure out all the problems here. Everyone's able to get in. We finally got Nora in. We finally got Rosa in, and we finally got Nora in, which was the biggest problems there towards the end. But everyone is here now, and yeah, you talked about the comps being absolutely different with the D.Va being banned out. I felt like that was gonna be the case here, especially with Lucio, no speed. You have to find speed elsewhere. So you see, at least beside of Overwatch, they have a little bit of speed there with that Wu Yang and the Kiriko, so they have a very mobile backline. While the other side doesn't really have that mobile backline, so you have to be prepared for Smoke being able to dive onto that backline there for Heaven here, especially if you are ELMT Heaven.
Yeah, alright, so the first one to go down, but the trade-ups are beginning right here with Honor going down directly afterwards. Smoke, though, hoping to get a very nice cleanup. And kind of just having to sit around right now with eventually you're going to get ran down, finished off. First fight will come through after Overwatch. Just got to quickly tap that point, that they shall.
Yeah, a good start here for them. Like I said, that backline there for ELMT Heaven, one that is very susceptible to being dove onto. Yeah, you have the Immortality Field and a Sleep Dart, but that's not necessarily going to get you out of a lot of situations, especially when you're dealing with both a Hazard and a Genji on the other side. As Fearless already, I believe, found 3 or 4 picks in that first fight alone, and look at Gustavo, already 75% of their first title blast.
And it would be massive because eventually ELMT is going to go for a dive here. At some stage, it's going to happen. And just not going to be ready in some of these situations at this point. Getting pressure, someone's going to have to eventually make their way over. Lemon needs care so badly right now, but unfortunately just isn't going to get it. Sanzuka is just getting forced back, and he just takes away those sightlines so easily.
Yeah, we're going to be able to find Sky Icon out there, and you're just going to see the dive from the... Yeah, so Sanzuka going to be able to find one, but it's not necessarily going to be enough here, especially as that Genji's going to be able to get back here pretty quickly. Gustavo, though, doesn't need to invest that the title blast here pretty early on in this fight, as they are pretty good here. But right now, you look at it, Sanzuka does have their nano ready to go, so they could really invest that into Rosa here to try to get them going.
100% they could. But Ultimates are starting to get on the other side right now. Sanzuka does have that nano sitting by. Lemon is a little bit out to that blade right now as they're transition over towards small drum. Trying to just pressure out that room a little bit. We'll see what the situation is as now Yabo has that overclock ready to go. I can see them being very aggressive here for a moment to go around, but here we go. Taking on the backside, it's going to pull down just one. The Skycon is deleted, taken out of this one with 80% and counting right now. Nano has been activated, still hasn't found any real targets yet. It might just come down to Milano with this blade to chuck this one in there because right now things are not looking good.
And the nano being invested and not finding anything is such a huge miss right there for ELMT Heaven, especially with them coming up to 4 ultimates. But right now, you look at Overwatch, they have 4 ultimates as well. The blade, it's gone!
Yeah, but Fearless is doing just fine. He's taking that quick little power nap. He's going to need it for this second round upcoming where Annihilation is there, but it is all but temporary. As no one else going to get the touch going through. That's a 100-0 to get things started here. And that is, you know, as good of a start as you could hope for in this situation for ELMT Heaven.
Yeah, and if you're ELMT Heaven, like I said, the biggest problem they really had that first point there was the fact that backline was very susceptible to being dove onto. Smoke and Fearless really did play very well there, and Diablo was able to help clean up a lot. But Gustavo, I talked about it, after that first fight, 75% to a title blast, which means they were doing a lot of healing and at the same time pumping in a lot of damage as you saw Smoke and Fearless go diving in there. And you already see swaps coming over here for ELMT Heaven, one where they really need to make it. And you see right there, Fearless, one are the only ones to die there for the side of Overwatch. And now you're starting to see a little bit more mobility come out here from ELMT Heaven. I like it a lot. Sanzuka though, still on the Ana is going to be really, really interesting because again, you see no swaps here from Overwatch, meaning that you're going to be seeing them just go after that Ana very, very often here, as there's really not much there to get them out of trouble other than a sleep dart, which, hey, there's a lot of times where you just get woken up immediately.
Yeah, you use it on Lama super early. You can't really get that extra angle. Big swipe gets everybody low. It's going to finish them off really quick. Fearless able to help you clean up. They're trying to leave no survivors. In fact, they're going to get everybody's points going to cap through. Good a start as you could ask for here. As another reset comes through, and after Overwatch, looking fantastic.
Hunter, different point, same story there for that first fight. Just a complete dominant fight there for FA Overwatch. And now it's already the Ramatra getting completely walled off, but Smoke has to back up here to keep himself alive. But you look at Gustavo, already again, 70% to a title blast. This team for FA Overwatch, you can see how much they're relying on their supports here to find a lot of damage. Just Wonder with some help from Fearless, able to take care of Lima.
Yeah, and Fearless, I mean, their name says it all right there. Straight in, all the confidence in the world, and every reason to believe SkyCon, only one that's going to get out alive. As another reset comes through, and we haven't even really seen them get past this initial choke.
No, they've been struggling to do that at all here. And I mean, look at how far up you're seeing FA Overwatch really play here. And oh, that's unfortunate.
It's really unfortunate, but he's still alive. Fearless is going to get the title blast, and there's a plethora of people waiting, stunned away, two being taken care of. You see the cap in the back right now. Won't go through, though, as, I mean, it's a rough scenario right now if you're an Element Heaven fan. They're going to be pushed back. I mean, you have Blade online. You still have Downboy. This is not great.
And no, it's been a struggle here for Element Heaven so far, and you lose your tank out there in a fight that you really need to have him there for. If you're Element Heaven, you're trying to back out of this one, but you're already seeing right here, FA Overwatch does not want to give them that space to breathe. And now, honestly, Smoke, nice jagged wall there to keep him alive, and Gustavo throwing in that wave just to at least force them back. So now you're going to see FA Overwatch back up, but look at what they have here. 4 Ultus Diablo going to be able to shut down Lima, and right now, Hunter, you're looking at the start of the final fight here, unless Element Heaven is able to find something here early on, because they need that opening pick. And oh my goodness!
God, it could not be a bigger round. Fearless and Diablo gonna finish it out. Unfortunately, while you are trying to get one more touch here on Lima, it's Lima open hanging out right now. You still have Annihilation alive right now, but I mean, you're gonna get cut down one at a time. Fearless gonna help close it out. This will be an extremely quick Busan.
Extremely quick Busan right there for FA Overwatch. I mean, again, they came out of the gate, they wanted to play a certain play style, and they really showed it to us. No D.Va, I think might have been a really, really good ban here for them, because remember, it was FA Overwatch that did ban out the D.Va. Lucio came out from the other side trying to maybe force this slower kind of brawly dive style, but it seemed like it played right into FA Overwatch's hands here. Element Heaven, they just struggled throughout that entire map. And like I kind of went back to the first point I talked about, that backline of very susceptible being dove on, and I thought we'd still see a little bit more on the second point as well, but I don't think FA Overwatch really gave Element Heaven the time to really consider, was it on the right choice there? Because they never had time to breathe. It seemed like FA Overwatch just wants to play this high tempo, in your face, wants to make you beat them in a head-to-head fist fight. And in that first point right there, in first map, Element Heaven really had no chance.
No, they really didn't, and they just kept their foot on the pedal the entire time. And that's what the squad is going to be really good at, and I think that's what's going to be a big driving point for them for the entirety of the season as well. It's simply being able to keep that going, all that momentum you've been able to gain, just keep proceeding with that. They've been good at it before in the Sudamericana. They're being good with it right here at the beginning against Element Heaven. But of course, Dex, you got to keep it that way the next two maps, because Element Heaven, obviously, ban phase. First one is in their favor. We know we're starting out at Saravasa, but I think, honestly, with what you just experienced, I think there is a plethora of correct bans here.
Well, you can go after the tank, try to get rid of that hazard, because it seems like FA Overwatch really liked playing that hazard, but no, they're going after the Genji instead, and I think that's a really good ban, considering Fearless only died once throughout that entire first map right there. Playing that over-aggressive playstyle on Genji, normally you expect to see him get punished a little bit more than what they did right there. And the reason why I was thinking maybe Hazard gets banned out here, because Smokes didn't die. 26-0. There that round. Like, they were playing that hazard almost perfectly there. Element Heaven didn't have that chance to breathe because the jagged wall just acted like a May ice wall there, just enough to really be able to provide a lot of value for them. And a lot of times that jagged wall from Smokes was really just used to get their team out of a situation where maybe they were starting to overextend a little bit. And that, I think, is a real difference maker there when it comes to hazard players. Do they use walls offensively or defensively to get their teams out of positioning or out of spots maybe they could be punished by? And right there in that first map, I think you saw Smokes play that perfectly. There were a lot of those times that jagged wall got them out. You look at the other side, though, it's just a struggle for everyone there. I mean, the most elims was Twist on that tank with 4. Noir struggled there. I mean, outside of that, you only had 3 more elims come from the rest of the team. So again, it was a struggle there for Element having that first map, but again, we saw these two teams go up against each other in that Sudamericana, where it did end up 3-1 in favor of FA Overwatch. So that lets us know that Element Heaven, they do have some fight here. They see the bounce back from maybe what was a little bit of a lackluster performance in their eyes on that first map. But hey, Genji banned out, and for the second time, Lucio being banned out here. So we'll be able to see the Brazilian DJ throughout the rest of this series here, but you can kind of tell that FA Overwatch is okay playing it a little bit slower because it kind of plays right into their wheelhouse.
It 100% plays into their wheelhouse in this situation right here, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna be able to do now. Obviously, trying to capitalize off of all that momentum you just had before, hoping to just keep duplicating that level of success. But we'll see what the situation is going to be momentarily as we're getting ready to head into our second map, Sura Avasa, where Element Heaven need to bounce back badly. You do not want to be down in a 2-0 situation. It will become, I mean, it already might be entering close to the desperation territory, as you are seeing them make, at least for the moment, a swap or two.
Yeah, make sure you had the sides right, as they did swap here.
Yep.
But I mean, Wonder getting off that Kiriko here, going over at least to showing us the Juno, but I feel like that might just be a little bit of a speed out before they go back over to the Kiriko here, because they did a really good job on that first map with Kiriko. But you see now from the other side, D.Va back out here. They were banned out, and that was a good target ban there by FA Overwatch, that map one. If you already see Element Heaven going right over to it, again, they had that play in Sudamericana, so they know maybe what the deal, what they have to watch out for here. So banning out that D.Va gets them that first map win, but now we see the D.Va back here for Element Heaven. Is it going to be a difference maker here, or will someone like Gustavo still find all the value they did on the Wu Yang last map? Because remember, they were getting really highly charged very early on.
Well, 100% they were. We'll see if that continues to be the case. Point currently being contested here by FA Overwatch. Going to be able to get it without too much issue. No one down yet, though. Lima struggling a little bit to get in there, get anything done, but all Gustavo has to do is just keep everybody alive. And honestly, they don't have to be the aggressors in the situation. They are waiting for Element Heaven to make a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, right now, though, you already see FA Overwatch in control, but right now, this is a little bit of a better start here for Element Heaven here, as they are playing it slow, but they do get a trade.
Yeah, Smoke's gonna go in, is gonna get one, is gonna die for it, so it is a 3v3 situation. Unfortunately, Honor gonna get the shot that's desperately needed here. It's a 2-on-2, as point will be retained ultimately, but that ended up being a pretty close fight, but it took away so much percentage.
Yeah, I mean, you already see it here, 50% and counting. You're basically putting yourself in a one-fight territory right now for Element Heaven, and you want to try to come back and fast. But you look at Lima. They do have a pulse bomb that's going to be ready this fight. Sunsilver's going to be able to have their nano. You look at the other side, even with FA Overwatch winning that first fight, they don't really have anything built up here, but losing Skycon early is not how you want to get started, Hunter.
No, not at all right now, but Pulse Bomb is about to be on the board here. Lima has it ready. Nice kill right there. Gustavo down. Pulse Bomb not going to catch anything. As we could see a cleanup coming through here. Cap will come through 1-0. Close to a DMAC, but will be able to recover for the next fight.
Yeah, and right now, if you are Element Heaven here, that pulse one, you really wanted to find something, but look at what you have. You have a nano, you're gonna have a remake here with the bomb coming up, but the other side, because they really didn't build up to anything in any of those fights, you now have a duplicate. You just got a downpour, but you're gonna cycle into all your other ultimates as well here. So this could be a pretty quick point cap here for FA Overwatch, unless we see something.
You know, I have a lot of questions right now, but we will get them later. I mean, with Lima down, I mean, you just can't go in Dex. This fight doesn't even exist. You just gotta back off. I mean, that's rough. That is a level of miscommunication right there. Tidal Blast is in. He's gonna cast only onto one, the Nano D.Va, so he will survive. Lima is back into the fight, but No Angel is gone, and this is just gonna be another delayed sequence.
Right now, the Smoke needs to get out of here. You cannot afford to lose them, but you lose them here now, and even with the misplays here from Element Heaven, you can go in. You have your tank, you have a bomb, you have the tools here right now without Smoke, who over-aggressed there, but you're gonna lose the mech and the bomb really before you can even make a move on the point.
Yep, Kiri gonna be copied, and the Kiri is no more. Fearless gonna run for those, trying to go around. Considering Rush currently activated on the point. Skycon hoping it gets only with the overclock. See if they get anything post-mortem. It's Lambert, though. He needs to try to clutch up at this point. Close to tapping with Smoke, still going for it. Fearless is actually getting rid of two already, though. And with this team mech, all but Eminent This second point should be nice and taken care of over here, as eventually we'll be at a 2-0 situation. Smoke clearing things out, and you can see them trying to fight back, but I feel like this is a communication issue between these squads right now. At least it's a communication difference.
I mean, right now, that point got off to such a rough start with Lima accidentally just blinking off the map. They just put Element Heaven behind the 8-ball. But you still see Lima does have Pulse Bomb. Smoke and Wonder, though, haven't used their ultimates yet all game, so those are ultimates that could really open up a fight here. However, you have to worry about D.Va on the other side being able to eat the downpour, at least for themselves, and if they do that, it still does save their team a decent amount of time just because they're alive, but considering much out here, as you already see a lot of members of that Element Heaven team low.
Yeah. Fearless being down is the start they need right here. Lima, though, needs to be able to stay alive. He does have a pulse bomb at the ready. Has to just hide away and wait for a right situation. Ona, though, is going to get nicely slept. Could see the first fight one coming through, but Diablo still has something to say about it, as eventually with Gustavo down, Diablo going to run for the hill. Smoke there to aid a little bit, as Fearless will be able to back him up.
And right now, if you're FA Overwatch, this is the first time you've lost a fight or really a point this entire series. You're just going to back up and regroup because, yeah, you still have a downpour and coming up to your own overclock, but you look at the other side, you have to know there's a bomb ready, there's a pulse bomb ready as well. Nano not that far behind, and Sunsuka does have it ready to go here, and that second perk. So right now, if you're Element Heaven, you're finally in control, you have some momentum, the Nano out here, you need to be able to find some value with it this time, as Davo already going to be able to find one.
Yeah, and you see that Nano, it causes people to have to back up and try to help out, but all it does is potentially just delay what's happening here. With SkyCon being taken down, Fearless is going to help with a little bit of cleanup. Sports there to care for each other. Bomb is going to come through, gets onto Gustavo, but at the end of the day, this is going to result in, I mean, not even any extra stall, and if you don't end up getting out of there, it could be a waste, but it's a good pick on the Fearless to keep things going.
Yeah, I mean, right now you're starting to see FA Overwatch be punished for maybe over-aggression where they're nice Suzu by Wonder to keep them alive, but now you're down. You're basically your main supporter. Gustavo might have to invest that Tidal Blast just to keep this contest going for a little bit.
Yeah, I think 100% they're going to. They're going to have to go for that dive. He's going to barely get in time. Literally can't get off this point, though, and there's that Tidal Blast right now. He's just going to try to stun people off the point. Big assassination right there on the Nora Angel, though SkyCon does manage to get rid of one, trying to bring this back together. This is an extremely scrappy fight. It comes down. SkyCon barely gets out of the reaches right there. But that death could be an inevitability right there, trying to get back only one health, but Sunsuka is the first one down, and it could be falling apart from here, Dex.
Honestly, I love how Smoke played that downpour, though. Like, they noticed that Sky used that slide to get out of it, so they knew they could go dive him. The D.Va, though, there for Element Heaven did just enough to keep him alive in that fight. Now, though, you did not want for Angel early. The Consumer Rush, though, did come out, so they still have a chance in this fight.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, they're going to push back one after another. Pulse Bomb is not even becoming a necessity at this stage. That is a 3-0. Some fight back there at the end. But unfortunately, I mean, that is just... That's FA Overwatch doing what they do. It really can't be explained at much better of a level. You saw the comeback near the end there. You saw things start to come together. Unfortunately, I mean, this squad just knows what they're doing. They're going into every fight with this level of aggression that's really hard to manage against.
Yeah, but like Cap said, Element Heaven, they were able to slowly start coming back in to that map there. And I think without that little bit of a blunder that we saw on the star in point 2, maybe the map is a little bit different, but Element Heaven, I think they're slowly warming up into this series. However, now backs are against the wall, so you might have to turn up the heat a little bit here on what could be our final map, as we already know it's going to be Runasapi and Wu Yang being banned out here. And honestly, again, I think this is a really good ban here from Element Heaven, going after, I believe it was, I forget who was, Gustavo, who was doing a really, really good job on it. But again, you're still leaving that hazard there, which has been very, very key. But at the same time, I feel like that Wu Yang has actually enabled that hazard for FA Overwatch to really play it as aggressive as they want, because they know they have that healing orb and that ability to get out there as well. But I mean, we won't see a Lucio ban this map. So now if you're FA Overwatch, what do you ban out here? Because you can't ban out D.Va. You already did that map 1.
Yeah, you already did, and it's a bit of a rough one to have to solve, unfortunately, but do have to figure it out here. I think there's a couple routes you could realistically go down in this situation. Obviously, with a little bit of time taken away, they are thinking it through as they have finalized it. But at this stage of the game, you gotta think of what's been kind of hurting you the most and what's been really effective. Honestly, I would not hate to get rid of the D.Va in this situation. I feel like that's where we found the most consistency so far for this line. I know we've only had so much of a sample size in general, but I think it would be something to potentially get rid of because
They can't get rid of
can they
They
not?
banned it out map 1.
That is a choice then. Well, that just proves that it would have been the right choice if they hadn't banned it. But the point I'm trying to make right now is that I think you could just genuinely just ban something that you think could work awkwardly against your comp. Because at this stage of the game, while there is some good performance from the people over at Element Heaven, it is also a lot of the mirror rules that are doing work as well. So you're not going to go out there and ban like a Tracer or a Sojourn realistically as, ooh.
Well, you talk about awkward bans coming out here. Venture's gonna be the ban here for FA Overwatch. And I think that's a really good ban from them for the reason that you were kind of talking about. You want something that it's gonna be a little bit awkward for them maybe to play around here. We haven't seen a Venture all night from either of these two teams, but Runasapi, again, a really good map for it. And as you've been hearing a lot in OWCS World Finals, Venture is becoming one of those really key hero bans when it comes to these kind of cart and point maps where it's just used to stall out. It buys you some time to just get in, have your team respawn if they died, and get out, because Burrow is such a really strong ability, as I think a lot of people knew it was going to be strong from the start, but you're really starting to see it now become one of the strongest abilities just for stalling in the game, because it allows your tank to not necessarily have to be that one that has to absorb a lot of damage.
Yeah, 100%, but hey, we're getting these comps ready to go. Fearless, I mean, back on that Genji now, no longer banned. I mean, this is prime FA Overwatch. Everything that we've seen from them so far, and when it's not just for today, but in the Sudamericana, this screams their style right here. And you can see, still trying to figure out, is Element Heaven back over to that Diva that I think was a really helpful tool for them right here. Sunzuka, honestly, I think had a lot of effectiveness as well, so we'll see if they can get them somewhere out the gate.
Yeah, but look at what we're seeing here from FA Overwatch. We're not seeing the hazard from Smoke. Instead, they're showing us the Queen for the first time all series long from them. This is the first time we're really seeing any big swap come out here from FA Overwatch. So this Queen gonna have to show a lot here early on, and I think it's gonna be a big thing here for Element Heaven to really have to find a way to get used to it here. As Lima already gets taken very, very low right there, as again, just even without the hazard, this Queen is all about the aggression, playing in now to this backline and the entirety of the team.
Yeah, Antidote has to respect the space a little bit. No matter how things have gone, they're still respecting that space, making sure to play at the pace that deems them the best without overextending too much. But Smoke, when that shot's ready, I can see the all-out aggression being thrown through. Weird boot to put everybody out of position. That sleep somehow goes, I think, under Smoke's arm, but unfortunately, with that TP right there, there could not be a more unfortunate timing. Smoke, though, is going to have to eventually get out of dodge. Nearly loses it out there to Nora Angel, but they're still going to get all this progress.
Yeah, and again, this is the start you want here for FA Overwatch, especially if you want to end this series early on. Lima not going to be able to escape here, and now if you're Element Heaven, you just kind of give up some space here for free. Skycon, if they can get rid of Diabo, it could really help them out here, but Diabo, going to be able to find them there. That should basically guarantee them this checkpoint here, Hunter. Only a minute and a half in, but we see this a lot in this wars. A team caps the first point very, very quickly, and then one more team fight happens after it, and that team that got capped is able to really kind of flip the map on them here. But right now, we need to see something from Element Heaven, as you're just seeing FA Overwatch go in.
I mean, they got no reason not to. They got all that confidence. They're starting to respect that space less and less. But to be fair, if they're not going to get punished, that's what's going to keep happening here. We're coming up to the 80-meter mark already. Diabo is going to go down on Lima does open this up to make something happen. Has to keep on that aggression, though. Cannot let off of that pedal whatsoever. As you see them just bring back together, they're staying in this. They're making sure to kind of manage where they're at. Tries to go in, gets booped away, and with Diabo coming back not too far away, we could see investment here shortly.
We also see the tank here now for Heaven swap over to the Queen as well. Gonna be able to find Wonder with it, but you already lost 2 of your members. Now it looks like you're gonna lose yourself, as you see the investment here from FA Overwatch.
Yeah, and it's just Khalif after Khalif, and it's going beautifully. Smoke does go down, so that could eventually stop the bleeding. Nano comes through directly through from Sunzuka, who's honestly had a consistent day so far overall. Gustavo, though, he's getting out of there alive for the moment, and if Gustavo gets out, everybody will get that good spawn. We'll be able to reset quickly.
Yeah, everyone got the good spawns right there, and this is what we kind of talk about here, with this being such a map that you can really flip it on very quickly here. One fight is all that Element in Heaven here really need to get something going back here, but you need now to continue that. Lima already very low on health, but the overclock coming out from Diabo has been a difference maker in the past.
Yep, big lead gonna come through. Owner gonna make it happen. I mean, Everyone's getting dominated here. Diablo manages to get rid of 3 at the end of the day, looking for a big cleanup. Getting rid of Sonzuka right here would be phenomenal.
And you also look at what Norangel used there. They used the Kitsune Rush. They really wanted to have that fight go their way. The Rampage coming out there, I imagine, I mean, if they can find one more pickle on it, it's huge, but I have to imagine with them using it there, it could be something where they are swapping.
Potentially, but it is still very back and forth. This will favor ultimately Element Heaven if they get it to the back. Their spawns are way closer, but you gotta keep your fellow Junker Queen alive here. Smoke is being pulled back, will be able to recover momentarily. Doesn't have any cooldowns at the expenditure left though, so eventually will it be forced back, but to be fair, you're not managed here. You're basically taking 50-50 fights right now.
Yeah, 50-50 fights will win you this map. Again, you don't have to complete it. There's that little bit of a confidence booster to yourself if you do, but you look at Element Heaven here. You have an overclock, not that far away from a Nano, and another Rampage, which, I mean, they've been able to build up very, very quickly here compared to what Smoke has. Again, that was only one fight. That Junker Queen for Element Heaven has been a difference maker, especially there. As you see, Element Heaven just has to touch that bot, just get on the board here, but now you're seeing FA Overwatch come right back out.
100% right now, only ultimate on the board, at least for the moment here. Got kind of ready to go, and honestly, it's going to have to be a big one here. You have to get some momentum going in this scenario right now. They're going to go all in and get rid of Smoke. We'll get a decent trade right there. Sonzuka being gone is pretty hurtful, especially the fact that Nano was alive. But Skycon, good flip right there. Good shot right there. Gets rid of Owner. Does eventually get taken out from Diablo, but the damage has been done. They'll be able to give up just a little bit of space. Finally, some progress being made.
Maybe.
That is. The fact that that works, by the way, I mean, honestly, all credit to them. Hold up, what? What? Okay. Feel different, I guess.
I mean, hey, I think the last time they used a Rampage is the only reason this map is maybe not even close to being over here for Element Heaven. A great round great use of it right there, because look at what it does. It forces back FA Overwatch here for a moment. Yeah, it was one of your bigger tools you wanted to maybe save here for a point cap, but you just need to get something on the board, because, like I said, this is a map where we see it be constantly flipped here, especially in the South American region.
Yeah, and that one's going to be cooked just like that. Right side is... I mean, spawn's taken away, but now at this rate, you're gonna die so late here. And unfortunately, I mean, the bright side is die on the point. It is what it is. There's still 4 minutes on the clock here, and they're gonna have the Nano Blade.
Nano Blade's gonna be online. You're also not that far away from Kitsune Rush, but you look at the other side. Kitsune Rush, Overclock, their own Rampage. Diablo, though, getting very low. They pushed up maybe a little bit too far here, but again, we talked about it. You don't need necessarily to complete this map. You have a lead. You can just take these 50-50 fights. Here's the Blade. There's the Nano.
Yeah, I mean, it's being thrown directly over into the tank's face. Gonna drill through one, hoping to get rid of a second, but this realistically should be enough to close this one out right here. 3:45 left on the board. You're gonna see a little bit of stall here from Fearless. But Diablo will be able to get out, and everybody should get good spawns. Fearless will be close, but I think should get it.
Fearless, I think it's just gonna miss out on them here. But you know what? One thing there for FA Overwatch that they just got it. One thing there for FA Overwatch, once they saw the investment of the Nano Blade, they didn't invest in anything else. So look at them now. 4 ultimates about to come up here. That Rampage could be a difference maker here, as you do see the Kitsune Rush out.
Beats there right on top of it, and that's all that's going to be necessary right here. And honestly, with what's left on the board here, the fact that you might get this late pick onto Sonzuka as well would be massive, by the way. Not necessary, but now they're going to have 3 ultimates, and there's no response here for Element Heaven.
Yeah, no response. I mean, you could see their tank build up to a quick Rampage here, which, again, the moment they get it, I would not be surprised if they use it here. But if you're FA Overwatch, I mean, you can just, again, 50-50 fights. Push the bot up back to the barrier. You know that if you die, you're going to get those forward spawns no matter what. So you really don't have to invest anything here. The only reason you invest is if you think you can win the fight very quickly after that.
Yep, now you're trying to get that cleanse out right now as best as you can. Cleve, gonna keep them alive momentarily. Well, the moment that cleanse is out there for Norangel, this one could be done and dusted right now. But you see holding on to it right now as Fearless going to go through, trying to get something with that slice right now. Is going to get deflected momentarily. Lima gets another slice, trying to get them down. Will eventually do so, but trade still comes through. As Sonzuka has to take the reset. Will get back quicker, though. Lyman, though, gets rid of another. Trying to clear this one out, bring some hope back into the world of Element Heaven. It seems for the time being should be able to recover once more.
And I think a big thing here for Overwatch in this fight is even though you did invest both your DPS ultimates and only found one pick with it, you were able to push the barrier a little bit there. Yeah, you had a 60-meter lead, now it's back over 70, but there's only about 2 minutes left here, and you're looking now at ELMT Heaven. They're about to come to 4 ultimates here, and you want them to use them on this side of the map.
The fact that Smoke and Gustavo have lived this long, honestly, is what's most heinous of all. And the fact that they're going to bounce and they just go up the edge up for the rampage. Worst case scenario, Smoke's going to clear out house. This bot is going to move forward, and this could be one fight territory for the map.
I mean, it's one fight territory for the map, definitely, but you look at what ELMT Heaven has here, especially coming up to 4 ultimates while Overwatch only has the rampage. I think at this point, Smoke is just using it as more of a bait tool where they want to see that Suzu come out from the other side, but at the same time, they don't necessarily need to invest it at all.
Yeah, Nanoblade is here. It's not going to get a whole lot. EA is going to force everybody out of there, though. It's going to give just a little bit of breathing room, but still, there is such an uphill climb that needs to come through. It catches on to third. Painful Smoke's going to help Clinton House. Team wipe comes through, and it's going to be a dash to get to this point and fight again.
Yeah, it's going to be a quick run out here, but again, ELMT Heaven does have the tools here with the overclock and the Kitsune Rush to really get back out here and touch, but you're going to have to deal with an overclock from Diabo as well at some point, and maybe even Owner or Wonder building up to there. Oh my goodness!
Right before the cleanse hits the ground, and Dex, this one is dusted. The 3-0 comes through, finishing the map. FA Overwatch, I mean, as good of a start to the season as you possibly could have hoped for. I mean, credit to ELMT Heaven. They fought back. They took some really good fights, had some risky maneuvers, but at the end of the day, just there is a consistency from this FA Overwatch squad.
Yeah, and I mean, again, ELMT Heaven, they did get better as the series went on, but it wasn't ever able to get over that hump there, what FA Overwatch really showed us here, especially going back to that first map. That was a dominant map there. Again, you had 2 members of FA Overwatch who didn't die at all that first map, and normally it kind of tells you how dominant it was, and I think the 2 of those other members died in the waning seconds of the map as well, so you had a potential for only maybe 1 or 2 people to really have deaths for FA Overwatch right there. But again, right now, if you're ELMT Heaven, I still think they're in a good spot. They went up against a really good team in their first official game. Remember, every team in this region technically did get a win with a bye because there is 11 teams. So again, ELMT Heaven plays tomorrow against Vlogdi Caminero, or which is, I believe, is Trucker Vlog. But you have a chance right there, and Vlogdi Caminero did win their first match, but right now there's only 2 3-0 teams. That is FA Overwatch and Cosmos. Dill Patos is one team that has played one game, has won that one. Everyone else has yet to either play their first game or has unfortunately lost their first game here. Colhair, ELMT Heaven, Faka, Garfo, Crazy Legion all played their first game and did not come out on top, but still a long season for a lot of these teams.
No, 100% a long season coming up ahead for them. One loss here, not going to be too critical, but at the end of the day, you need to start, obviously racking up these wins at some point. But with that being the case, Dex, it is currently 8:53 p.m. So, Dex, I mean, you want to do it? You want to go for it? All right.
Yeah, we're here. Why not?
All right, we're going to do it. All right, awesome. So with that being the case, obviously, fun South America game, but the fact that it was quick means y'all get the double feature. So shout out to both these squads for helping make that happen. But importantly, so we're going to take a quick couple of minutes, get our drinks, get ready, because when you come back, it is going to be Amplify taking on Nightmare. Should be a fantastic game. We'll be back with that in just a few minutes.